Game Week 13. Game Week 12 has come and gone. It's passed a lot of interesting results. You guys knows exactly what we're talking about. We're going to jump into some of those reactions today, along with previewing and predicting how we think 5 of the juiciest matchups are going to go this coming weekend for Game Week 13. If you haven't done so already, do me a favor, like the video down below, subscribe to the channel, especially if you're new, because you can find weekly Premier League content here on Goals TV. As usual, today I'm joined by Barca Boy 103. We have Austin Forbes and Max C Gaming here on the channel today, again, to help me predict and preview 5 of the juiciest matchups for Game Week 13. Lads, before we get there, got to do what we always do, right? We're checking in. We're holding everyone accountable. Got receipts for everybody, right? The leaderboard, if you will. Predictions. This is how we look. It was a bad week for everybody. Nobody's barred exception from that. Max and Austin went 2-3. Hoffman and I went 1-4. Arsenal game saved me, baby. But yeah, bro, it was pretty sus last week.
I'm creeping.
Oh, this West Ham. Do you actually know what this weekend was? It was the weekend to save their certain managers' jobs, and I should have took that into account because I feel like if they would have lost, their jobs would have been gone. I'm talking about Crystal Palace. I'm talking about West Ham. Their jobs they would have been gone. So I feel like that's like West Ham, because West Ham, hey, they showed up and showed out today. Without Kudos and Alvarez too. I mean, hey.
It doesn't even make sense. Like,
it doesn't make any sense.
Any sense, bro. Like,
but this is the shit. I mean, this is the shit I was talking about with Newcastle, man. All of a sudden, like they're back to being ass again. Like,
bro, they'll beat Arsenal, they'll lose to somebody random. They'll beat Chelsea, they'll lose to West Ham. It's like it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense.
Either way, Eddie Howe still safe as ever. I don't think he's ever going to leave Newcastle.
Hey, man.
Man, sacrifice England job. They ain't gonna sack him unless I'm crazy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro. They love him. The Geordies love him over there. It's crazy. But anyway, man, look, we're still moving. I heard Hoppett say in the pre-show he didn't get a 0 this week, so it's a W. I'm kind of right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you. All right, man.
Still saving us.
They had to, bro. If we didn't get a big performance, honestly, this would have been my first 0-5 week, and we might have canceled the show. I don't know. All right, man. Trivia as usual. I actually enjoy these questions a lot now. I'm curious to see what you guys think about this one. No agendas. Since the start of last season, 23-24, this player has the second most away goals in the league. Guess the Prem player. Away goals specifically. And I'll give you one hint. Okay? Give you one hint. The number one player ahead of him, the only player ahead of him, is Erling Haaland. Obviously. Yeah. So not a crazy hint.
I feel like it's gonna be a recent player who scored like a recent big away goal.
I'm gonna say
he scored a bunch of away goals, to be honest.
I'm gonna say my guess is
he scored the second most, actually.
Yeah, good one, Austin. Yeah, he has scored the second most.
Yeah.
So you said Salah? Is that you said, Max?
Yeah.
Okay, Mo Salah. Not a bad shout.
You know who first? There's 2 players that came to my mind. Firstly, were Son and Cunha, because I feel like I've seen this stat somewhere.
You know, you say that almost every week, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there. You like, I feel like I've seen this stat somewhere.
Bro lives on Twitter.
I know, yeah. Hoppin is there, bro. He's in the trenches, in the weeds.
Hop is in the trenches of X, man.
He don't get off.
He's that meme. He's that meme of the guy drinking coffee and has shit all over the place and just like has 4 different monitors.
I am not crazy. I am not crazy.
I
don't think I've gone a whole day without Twitter in like years, to be honest.
Yeah,
at least one.
I haven't either. Honestly, Twitter's like the most.
So good.
It's
the best free app on the internet. I probably.
Shout out, Elon.
Hey, I had a lot of laughs.
Same, bro. Same.
I'm gonna go with Cunha since he scored against who did they score against? Fulham. So I'll go Cunha.
Okay.
He's having an unreal season.
Not a bad shout.
I was going to go Cunha too because I did see something on Twitter about like there was a confirmation of his away.
I got this in the bag or what?
Wait. So you guys are both saying Cunha?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay. You're sure? I mean, bro, you're going back and forth here. Just give me one.
I mean, I'll go Cunha, but I guess
because I want to side with Hoppy. Like,
I don't want to side with Hoppy.
Side with the best. Yeah, side with the best.
I feel like it's Cunha.
It is 100% Mateus
Oh,
Cunha. Yeah. It's a good shout. And to be fair, I actually didn't see this stat. I might have missed it, but I don't live on the trenches on Twitter anymore.
I definitely missed it.
Yeah, I might have missed
right
this
out my
stat.
arse. I'll take it.
I might have missed it. But I will say this, bro. I started digging around Cunha's stats after the performance against Fulham just to see, because I feel like now that January's coming up, right? Like the window, I'm looking at who Arsenal may or may not potentially go after in the window. Man, Cunha would improve basically every big six side out there.
But
I really can't think of a stat he really wouldn't drastically improve.
You have to remember what was bought him for like 60 million from Atletico. So they're gonna ask, especially with him on form right now, they're gonna ask for, talked about Isaac in the before the show, like asking 150 million. I would think Wolves would ask for like 60 to 80-ish because of what they
tell you what, bro. I might
United had the opportunity.
I might pay that 1,000%.
Really?
United had the opportunity.
Who's more worthwhile? Do you think?
Well,
Depending on the need, who's more worthwhile?
From the Prem?
Well, Jokic is, being the striker that he is, unproven in the Premier League, or someone like Cunha who plays for a small club and could significantly improve a big six side.
I would say Cunha is a more adaptable player. He can play in multiple positions, where Jokic is just a straight striker and also has that Prem experience. He's been in the Prem for quite a minute now. I think 2.5 years almost.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think he joined in the January window from Atletico, I remember.
Even though Jokic hasn't been in the Prem, he's been around England. Like he played for
Coventry
Coventry.
City.
Coventry,
Wow.
right? Was he a Coventry boy?
So he's not totally like.
Oh, he hasn't played, but he played in the championship.
It's not totally a new thing for him.
No, but yeah, like Max said, right? It's like, it's like a lower tier competition. Now he is in insane form, and we saw. Granted, it was 2 penalties, right? But we saw the hat trick against City. It's a one-off game. I'm just curious to see who goes after him. It's going to be a Prem team. It's not going to be anybody else. Let's be real. So I'm curious to see who actually lands him, whether it's in January or the summer, and what his production actually looks like entering the league at what by then he'll be maybe 27 years old. I don't know when his birthday is, but we'll see. We'll find out. It's just interesting when you try to understand some of the transfers that could be available in the market come January or the summer. But Cunha's doing it, man, and balling since last season. So I put him up there with the best of the best. Only Haaland has outshined him. All right, man. Let's get into our first preview and prediction for this video, which is going to be Austin's lads. Fresh off a manager, right? Steve Cooper now being sacked. I've heard rumors about Leicester trying to fill the position by as soon as this weekend. Like they probably have a caretaker manager. Don't get me wrong, but I've heard just rumblings on the internet about them trying to fill it quickly. Ruud van Nistelrooy just happens to be the name that constantly pops up time and time again. We'll talk about that here in a second, but they're going up against guys, the number 1 team at home in the league, Brentford. Kind of crazy, actually, when you think about it, right? 17 points,
Also
not even the top 10, but the best
team on the road. They have 16 points at home and 17 points total.
Holy shit. Dude, that's crazy. That's actually crazy when you think about it. All right, man. Look, they drew at Everton. It is Brentford. I mean, they kept the clean sheet away, but nonetheless, only took a point away. And then, Leicester City, not a terrible, a result against Chelsea, but it's still a loss and a new manager coming in. So how do we feel about this one?
I was going to let y'all go first.
Hey, this is a tough game. There's always that new manager balance, but
will the manager be in by then?
Yeah, will he be in by then? I have no idea.
Hey, it don't matter who. It doesn't matter if it's a new manager or the interim manager. There's just a bounce. So,
was Cooper that bad?
Cooper
was he that bad that literally anybody would give you guys?
Cooper was pretty fucking bad.
I think he was so out of his depth.
I don't think
he lost the dressing room, and once he lost the dressing room, it was written in the stars.
Bro, it's Leicester. It's not like he got hired at fucking Liverpool.
Yeah, but just watching the first half of that game, I mean, I said it, and if I'm saying it, surely they know, and most of those players have to know because Enzo was there last year. The way to beat Enzo is to go at him, not just sit back the whole time. And I think Chelsea's defenders, I think Fofana was 40 yards away from goal. And they were that far pushed up. And it's what do you expect? Jamie Vardy, I think, had 5 touches in the first half, 4 maybe. And crazy, and 3 of them were in his own half. It was that bad.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, you look at the stats and everything else. Like I said, I caught a little bit of that game, but it was so Chelsea dominant in the second half that I just couldn't really tell you like how the first half could have gone or impacted it. But I mean, the stats don't lie, like you just spelled it out. But against Brentford, it should be right now without Steve Cooper. I'm really curious, Austin, from your perspective, what to expect as a Leicester City fan for this game. Right? Do you abandon every tactic that Cooper has tried to implement in his short time at City and go with something wildly different, or are you guys going to see more of the same against Brentford?
I mean, you normally, when you get a caretaker, you usually want to simplify things and halfway keep what the last one was doing, so it's not crazy. But I think the players were so against what Cooper was doing that I don't think we really know what we're gonna do this weekend. And I mean, like you said, we're looking to fill that manager position. The names are Potter, Moyes, Rude, and Carlos Corberán. So I think it's going to be one of those four coming this weekend. But I just think, at least for this game, I'm not really sure how we're going to show out. There's also injuries that we'll see if we get guys back. We might get Vestergaard in, Ricardo Pereira if he's healthy. Hopefully Mavididi starts. Like, honestly, I have no idea how we're going to look.
Well, if there's a silver lining here, guys, Leicester haven't lost to Brentford in the last 6 meetings. 4 wins, 2 draws. So there's a little bit of history here. How are we seeing this one go, right? Let's assume there isn't a new manager in place. They're going to have a caretaker. How do we see this Leicester team bouncing back away at Brentford, where Brentford have been the best team in the league so far?
I would add this that Brentford are very good with teams that are under or equal to their quality. And we've seen that a lot this season, and especially with that home form this season being well. I can't really back Leicester. I was thinking, like Max mentioned, either a draw or a Brentford win. I think it'll come down to really if Leicester do get that new manager bounce, will they be able to hold on and keep a clean sheet? I think if they concede 1, I think it's going to be not floodgates, but like they won't. I don't think they'll end up getting any points in the game. So I think with Brentford coming off the drop points against Everton, I'm going to back Brentford. Yeah. Leicester new manager battles the next weekend.
That's when it begins. Max, you said draw. I think I heard that right.
Yeah, I think this is. I think this could be a draw.
All right.
I don't know. There's Brentford. I also saw something about what's his name? Is it Fabio, the Liverpool?
Oh yes, Fabio Carvalho.
Carvalho, dude, his dad. What a dumbass.
That's like, yo, bro, get the hell out of there.
Yeah, I was like, do you think he was sending him you think he thought he was sending him a message?
Maybe.
Like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
bro, should have me dying. I was like, what the fuck?
I don't know, bro. Honestly, I would have called my dad and fucking yelled at him hard. I don't know. It was weird, bro. Weird ass comment.
It has nothing to do with the match, but I just thought that was fucking hilarious. My dad just comes up and says, "Get the fuck out of this club."
Yeah. Wait, if you're the manager, if you're Thomas Frank, what do you even tell him? Hey, tell your dad to delete that shit, bro. We don't need those vibes over here. Like, just I don't know, man. It's a weird comment, out of pocket.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the question is, do they even acknowledge it or not?
No, no, there's no way you acknowledge that.
I hope someone in the presser asks him a question like, "Yo, what are your thoughts on Carvalho's dad saying that he should leave?"
As a coach that has to deal with parents, we literally don't even listen to them. And we're like, okay, like you're not going to change our mind, whatever.
Yeah, ignoring is not a terrible approach.
And this is professional, so it's on an even different level.
Yeah. Honestly, it's like, are you asking me about an Instagram comment right now? Fuck out of here, bro. Like, I don't have time for this. That's exactly how he should deal with it. But yeah, okay. So we got Brentford win, we got Max draw. I'm gonna go Brentford win as well. I just think it's a lot to ask of Leicester to like piece things together quickly after a manager's just exited and try to get a win against a team that's been this good at home, even if it is Brentford. I feel like Brentford will be up for this one. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Brentford dub. Austin?
My head says Brentford win. But
your heart?
My heart thinks that Brentford plays these free-flowing games. I mean, the number 2 team at home is Liverpool, and they've scored, and there's been half the goals in those games. So I think we're going to come out free flowing. I think there is a chance we can nick one. So I'm going to pick us to win because I feel so much better about Leicester City in the last 2 days. So
My respect.
Yeah. Seriously, you're spot on there. And by the way, I think Hopper's also on something. If you look at Brentford and just how they perform against some of these teams in the bottom half of the table, even when they win, it's always a crazy high scoring game. Like if it was Wolves, it was 5-3. When it was Ipswich, it was 4-3. When it was Bournemouth, it was 3-2. Like there's always a fair amount of goals, and as long as Vardy and the crew can keep up with them, it should be a very interesting game from a neutral standpoint. So, yeah, man, keep an eye on this one. But we got our picks in for that match. Let's move on to West Ham. We just saw them play today, hosting Arsenal. At the time of recording, playing yesterday. So look, man, what do we make of Lopetegui and his men? We keep saying it's about time, that they're going to let this guy go. Not a great manager. He walks into St. James's Park without key players and gets a dub 2-0. Very, very, very clinical W.
I'm at lost for words. I don't know how they fucking won. I mean,
that corner kick goal.
The corner
he was so free.
Also, they missed that was definitely a penalty on what's his name?
Yeah.
That was 100% a penalty. I don't know how that wasn't called, but
was it Mavropanos?
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? How's this not a penalty? But hey, welcome to the Prim. But I truly know how they won. I mean, Newcastle. I guess Isak wasn't clinical. I mean, I genuinely just don't know. I mean, this is the game that Newcastle have been flying for the last few weeks, and coming up against a West Ham team that's been struggling this year, especially away from home, and they get smoked at home. So. I guess kudos to West Ham, but I don't know. I don't know how they won today. But
and guess who Kudus is returning against? Yeah, boys.
Gooners.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's suspended. He's still suspended.
He got that extra game. We talked about it last week.
So he gets a return for Leicester City and
it's definitely not Arsenal. Yeah, Kudus will see you on the sideline, brother. But yeah, man, it's I mean, without him though, they may not have needed him. They got it done against Newcastle. So who knows? Actually, I was watching the game. I was hoping and praying for a Paquetá yellow. Paquetá yellow would have mean that he would also miss the game against Arsenal. But
I think the yellow cards are getting a bit too suspicious. He's got to knock it down a couple notches.
Oh yeah, you're right. They're gonna
getting a little too suspicious.
Check those that betting slip history a little bit. But yeah, bro. I mean, I was hoping and praying that it was only Jared Bowen we had to worry about dealing with. But nonetheless, I mean, it's still I think a team that Arsenal should beat. Arsenal in their own right, coming away with what I would consider to be Arsenal's most impressive win up to this point in the season. I think the Aston Villa win away is probably the second best, only because it was away at Villa. But I think Villa had more than a couple chances where Raya probably saved us. I think in this game, from top to bottom against Forest, it was clinical all the way through, and having Odegaard back was nice. But this opponent, right? It is somewhat of a rivalry. It is a London-based rivalry, and if you put the 6-0 drubbing that we gave them towards the end of last season aside, we struggled with West Ham. Right? Like we lost 2-0, lost 3-1, and drew 2-2 in the 3 matches before that. 2 of those being Prem, 1 of those being a domestic cup match, Carabao Cup, I think. So when you look at that, right, and just some of the recent success West Ham's had against Arsenal and what we can expect in this game, they're just coming off a big win against Newcastle away. Now they're going to be at home in the Stadium of Light. So how do we feel about this game going in? I mean, I'm going to be biased towards Arsenal, and I think that this is still should be a game that they win, but I'm curious to see how you guys feel.
I do. I'll say this right now. Of course, I'm going to predict an Arsenal win, keeping that superstition going. But I do smell a little bit of a potential drop points for Arsenal. They tend to, not struggle against West Ham away, but it tends to not be as smooth as it should be, especially with West Ham picking up. They always tend to get good results against the top 6 at home, usually. I think last season as well, if I'm not mistaken, it might be the season before when West Ham beat Arsenal at the Emirates as well. I think it was last season, maybe.
Yeah, it was last season. I keep in mind, right? We say we struggle against this team. It is solely 2023. Like outside of that, we hadn't lost at the Stadium of Light since like 2019 or 2018, something like that. So it is basically 3 straight games last season where we very much fumbled the bag against West Ham.
Mm-hmm. But I think since they've gotten some big wins already this season, in the London Stadium, it could definitely give them that kind of edge, especially coming off the back of a very, very good 2-0 win against Newcastle away as well.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, I'm going to be going with an Arsenal win
to keep the dream alive for Hoffitt. All right,
yes,
Max, Arsenal hater number 2. How are we feeling?
I don't think this is going to be a problem for Arsenal this time around. Yeah, West Ham came off a very good win against Newcastle. Like I said before, I still don't know how they won, but maybe do they carry some momentum into this London derby? Possibly. Will it change anything? I think with Odegaard being back, Arsenal are looking like their old selves, and this shouldn't be a problem for them, to be honest, in my opinion. But if it is, it's a win-win.
Yes, sir.
Either way, the hater agenda lives on. Yeah. I feel that, bro. Honestly, like I agree with everything Max said for the most part. Like they should win this game, even if it's and I think Arsenal, for whatever reason, have outside of even in that 2-month spell without Odegaard, I just feel like for whatever reason, there's like less pressure and less fear for this young team away. It's like at home in front of their own fans. I don't know what it is. It's like I don't know. It's like they feel pressure to play a certain way. It's not as fluid, not as creative.
It's like the same thing when I said about Bruno. Like when Bruno plays, things sometimes aren't what they should be. But when he doesn't play, things are just fucking down horrendous. Like it's like there's such a big difference when star playmakers don't play in a game. That goes for almost every sport, though. But a key playmakers, whether they're in form or not, are always important for the club.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? This is probably a crazy shout. You guys are probably going to laugh at me about this. Crazy shout. I actually think, granted it was against Forest, I actually think there's something at times, to benching Kai and going with Gabriel Jesus. I don't know what it is. I think it's maybe because it's not his goal scoring ability. Like Kai is significantly ahead of him in that category, but it's just the way that he plays. It's just his ability to dribble, to be creative in the attacking third, to not be so static and predictable. I don't know. His link up play too with guys like Saka, guys like Trossard, or sometimes Martinelli when he starts on the left. It's like things just move a little more fluidly when Jesus up there and just making runs and trying to combine with players. I don't know. He didn't have a great game against Forest, but you can tell on multiple levels he's actually a more technical baller than guys like Kai Havertz, even though King Kai is scoring.
I think actually had a legit striker.
Scary hours. I agree with what you're saying, but that's what we've always said about Gabriel Jesus. He is definitely a lot more technical than most nines are. It's just that he lacks the ability to score goals.
Yeah,
and that's been his biggest downfall. Is that, and probably one of the reasons why he's not a City. He needs to score goals.
Yeah.
Plus, Arsenal put 50 million on the plate for him. Bloody hell.
Yeah, but I think it was well worth it. I think for the phase that we were in, I think Zinchenko was also worth the money, right? I think it's easy to look to see that our team has grown past some of those guys and be like, oh, those were flop transfers. No, but we brought them in. I mean, they immediately put us into a title charge. It wasn't the guys we had. It was legitimately some of those guys that we brought in from City. So people call them rejects or whatever. I just think if you only look at the stats, yes, Jesus is a terrible striker from that perspective. But when I watched him play this past weekend, I felt like he just offers us something that Kai Havertz doesn't. And for that reason, I don't want, if we were to go out and get a striker in the market, I don't want Jokic. I want someone like Isak, someone who's just much more technical, can play multiple positions. I don't know. I kind of want someone like that that's very versatile. But we'll see. We'll find out. Arsenal should win this game. Obviously, I'm backing them. Hoffitt and Max are backing them. And I assume Austin is as well.
Yeah, I'm going to back them. I just think they should win this game, even though West Ham's hot, but I think that might have been a fluke. So
yeah, they're hot out of nowhere. I'll tell you that much. I really, when they scored the first goal, I didn't even see. I was like, dude, Newcastle's going to come back into this. I'm not even worried. And the more the game went on, I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. All right, man. Let's move on to the third game. Chelsea hosting Villa. A very I want to get you guys' thoughts on this, man, because Villa to me was a side that coming into the season, I did not expect them to do what they did last season, but I did not expect the drop off to be this significant. And I feel like it is. I don't know why. They have a lot of injuries that could play a part. Don't get me wrong, but
I said it in the beginning of the year. Champions League, man.
But I think it's more than that. Like,
No, it's the same shit with Newcastle, man. Newcastle entered Champions League last year, and they're in the same exact place. I think at this time Newcastle was last year.
bro,
When you're
against Palace, it looked like they had a lot of possession and whatnot, and like created more chances. Sure, the XG was high, but like it's just to give Crystal Palace, what did they have? They had double-digit shots. Like to keep them in the game as long as they did. I'm like, what is Unai Emery doing? Like what is this team doing? I don't know how to feel about Villa right now. I feel like at 8th place at 19 points, the season's not even close to being done as far as top 4 races considered. But I don't know. They don't inspire me at all right now. They haven't won a game in a month?
When you're a team that's not set up for the Champions League, it kills you. Like it happened to us. It happened to Newcastle last year. It's happening to Villa right now. I mean,
but they reinforced. They lost Douglas Luiz. I'll give them that. They lost Luiz.
You reinforced, but it's adding in new guys to the system that may or may not work. I mean, we did that. We bought like 6 guys, and maybe one of them worked. I mean, it's so hard to do when you're basically a non-Big Six club, because it's really what it is, to kind of sustain that level of success. You saw that with us for 2 years, and then we just ended up being relegated. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. I mean, injuries for sure, but it's just not a lot of optimism coming out.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ahmed.
Who, me? I wasn't.
Well,
I thought you were going to say something.
No, go ahead. All I was going to say was really quickly was that with this game, right? I'm just confirming it now. Villa have not won a game in the league since the 19th of October. So over a month now, 5 weeks actually. Whereas, and there's an international break in there, so keep that in mind. But it's 4 games. Chelsea haven't lost in the Prem since the 20th, right? So like 2 very, very different form in terms of each side going into this game. Max, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think their biggest issue has been the lack of production other than Ollie Watkins. Like, if it's not Durant coming off the bench and scoring in the 85th, 90th minute, no one else is producing on the team besides Ollie Watkins.
Yeah,
I think he literally has almost all their goal contributions other than Durant's, and maybe some work in Rodgers. But other than that, and maybe 1 or 2 Tielemans goals. But other than that, like they just been lacking in production up top. So that could be one of the main issues.
Yeah. But I mean, how do you fix it though, right? Like, is Jacob Ramsey still injured?
I believe so.
So yeah.
He's probably the only guy that's creative enough, I think, to do something. But like that's what I'm saying. Last season, you were getting production out of guys like Douglas Luiz, right? And in the midfield, offering a lot moving forward. And of course, that impacted positively guys like John McGinn. In fact, so much so that you had certain people on this show coming on and saying he deserved to be in the team of the year. And
who said that?
Andre.
Wasn't me.
I'm not surprised. Bloody hell.
There's also a Lamina shout for that, although Lamina shout's a little more fair.
I guess.
Yeah, of the two. But I think that, like I said, I think he positively impacted that midfield. I'm not saying Onana's bad, right? But
he's injured as well.
Yeah, but I think I don't know.
He just got injured.
Is he a fit for this Villa side?
I swear he's been out for like a month now.
Yeah,
probably during these.
I heard it was lack of fitness too. I heard it was lack of fitness as well. It wasn't just like the injury; it was the recovery as well. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of just like mystery around Onana's injury, and the timetable for which he'll come back. But you put all that aside, man. I just don't think there's many other options for Unai Emery to work with, and that's crazy to me considering how much money Villa have spent since he's gotten there.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of wild.
I just think you look at the players they've lost, and they just haven't fully. And they've gotten decent players in, but you look, and Grealish, it's been a while, but they, to me, still haven't replaced Grealish. You lost Coutinho. They are screaming for a guy like Coutinho right now. And like, they've replaced him with good players.
I told them to. They didn't listen to me.
Bro, Mateus Cunha, talked about him earlier. Guy would fucking light up Villa.
Oh, he would cook in his
Oh, he would
Yeah.
cook him. Oh man, he would
But
cook.
Villa is spending
Exactly.
80 million on Cunha. Nah.
I know. But just imagine, bro. Holy
Mhm.
shit, that front three would be insane. And then of course they lost the winger, Diaby.
Isn't-
Diaby,
Yeah,
Mr. Diaby.
That
But
was
because
a big
they brought
one.
in, who did they bring in? They brought in a winger. That's why they sold Diaby for
Um,
60 to bring in someone. I forget who it was off the top of my head.
Well, they brought in Ross Barkley, which
No, that was the first transfer of the summer. Like during the time they bought. Oh, it was Jaden Philogin. The guy was
Yes,
playing
yes,
for
yeah,
Barcelona.
That's right.
Yeah.
And of course, look, man, like they have some players. Don't get me wrong, right? Like
Yeah.
they do have some players, but like Leon Bailey by himself, if he doesn't get injured, he can do a job.
Also, Ian Matson, who they spent almost 50 million on. I think he's one of the most expensive fullbacks in the history of this game. Doesn't
Yeah.
even
I
start
don't
for
even
them. I
think
think he started
he
his first game this past week against Crystal
I
Palace.
don't know
He's barely
why.
played for them.
I have
Yeah.
no idea why.
Look at Dean, that's why. My boy balling.
And they moved on Alex Moreno to Nottingham Forest for that move, and they still don't
Exactly.
use much.
And he's doing now well.
Monster's like a Champions League only player. Like he literally starts every Champions League and Cup game, but he hasn't started in the Prem. It's very weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just I
He'll
don't know.
probably
I don't
start.
know what's
He'll
going
probably
on with
start
this
this
one.
week.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start off with the predictions. I'm gonna up the Chelsea, back to Chelsea. I think Chelsea have the Conference League midweek. They're gonna, of course, fully rotate their teams. Their lineup will be fresh. Villa play Juventus at home, like Austin said. That UCL task I think will come into play, especially with their 2-2 draw against Palace. I think that game will be very good, very even game. Villa Juventus. It's at Villa Park. But like I mentioned with Brentford, I think I apply the same thing here with Chelsea. When Chelsea play teams that are just below their level, they tend to do very well. Whether it's Crystal Palace at home, I think they've beaten pretty much everyone underneath them. It's just the top six they kind of, have been struggling against. So I do back Chelsea, especially at the Bridge, to get a result of this game, especially with them fully rotating midweek. So their whole XI, their 11 XI will have a full week's rest.
Yeah.
Where
Bro,
Villa's XI will.
I'm right there with you. I back to Chelsea. I think, bro, Villa have played Palace twice, a lowly Palace team twice in the last 3 weeks, and have gone winless against them. A loss and a draw. Kind of crazy.
Mhm.
By the way, I think the Juve game is going to be kind of a snooze fest, only because Vlahovic is injured, and I'm just like, I don't know where the
They
goal
have
is.
been doing very well in the Malta. They barely concede. They, scam results.
Didn't they have like
Yeah,
a
they're
0-0
a
draw
bit
this past
boring.
weekend?
They're a little bit boring, man. They have like 8 or 9 draws this year.
Yeah. Well, I think the spectacular comes from like those moments with Vlahovic, and like when I watch them play, because obviously there's a few Americans on that team. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not like super inspired by Juve, but Villa's not inspiring either. So that's why I was thinking like maybe it's a snooze fest. I don't know. But I will say that at some point Villa has to break this duck. It's just not going to happen at Stamford Bridge. It's just really not. Leicester City or no? Who is it? Who do they play next week? Villa. It's not Leicester. It's another lowly team, I think. Brentford. That's what it was. Brentford. That will be where it comes back. It'll be Brentford
Right.
at home at Villa Park.
Or it's at Villa Park. Lucky
Yeah.
for Villa.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got
exactly.
Brentford's outside them back to back. That's what they're able to do.
Yeah, that's when they'll get their mojo back, hopefully, right? If you're Unai Emery and if you're a Villa fan. But it's not going to happen this game. I think it'll be close, and they'll make it a game, but I can see Chelsea winning 1-0. So I'm going to go with Chelsea.
The only thing that I think I have a problem with. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, I agree. One thing I will say is that 2-1 scoreline in Leicester City does not say the game. They absolutely dominated that game. It was a 96th minute pen that made it 2-1.
By your boy
dominated.
Jordan Ayew.
Yeah, absolutely dominated that game. Enzo's really starting to click. They're going to be too much for Villa. I think they're going to pretty easily win this game.
Fair enough, Max.
The only thing I was gonna say is Chelsea hasn't beaten Aston Villa away or home in like 2 or 3 years.
Oh,
So there's
really?
a little bit of history.
Was
there's a
not
little bit
aware
of
of
history.
But it seems to be a little different right now.
They could have been
Like-
different in the 2-3 years. There's so many factors that are gonna happen in the last 3 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But,
true.
I mean,
true.
I mean,
they've
I don't
almost
know.
been like flipped.
You
in
guys
terms
all
of, like,
about
where they're
Chelsea.
at.
Yeah,
I think
kind of. Only because of what Villa's
Yeah.
done the last couple seasons, but like,
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I still back Chelsea. I don't think that changes too much for me anyway.
I want to back a draw. I think I'm gonna back a draw. here.
Ooh,
Go on,
okay.
Max. Go on.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Be
Hey,
be a little different.
yeah, I like that, bro. Let me ask you before we move on to the fourth matchup. With how, because I like what Austin just said. Enzo has these guys moving different right now. And I think the expectation with fans mentally has shifted a little bit. If Chelsea do not get top 4, is it a failure of a season? What's the expectation for them now?
I think if they just get a European spot,
If they get in the European spot, I think
Well,
a lot of Chelsea fans
actually,
came into this game.
I think it's got to be Europa and above. I don't think it can be conference
Again?
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
it's got
I
to
agree
be
with that.
Europa and
if they
above.
win conference, they'll get Europa. No, so
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think a lot of Chelsea fans, I can't speak for them, but they had no idea what was going to happen this season. I mean, from what the mess has been for the last year and a half to now, I mean, I guess I'm assuming they're very grateful, but expectations for the season, I don't think they had any, because who knew what Chelsea was going to do this year with the amount of players, the amount of signings that they had this summer in the last 2 years. Is just you don't know. So I had no. I mean, I think I put them 4th, but that's just the fact that
I had like 7th or something. I think.
Yeah, I had them like top. I had them finishing like the same spot as last season. I think like at 6th.
So I mean, them to be in 3rd place right now, and honestly, and near title position is pretty insane for Enzo.
Yeah.
So.
That's fair. And the reason I ask it, right, is because they did finish 6th last season. Like that's where they finished. That's the bar, I guess you could say, for that fan base. And they just wanted to see progress from that under a new manager who was very, widely touted as the next pet prodigy. And so, now with top 4 being there, I feel like a lot of fans are like, I don't know, like shifting the expectation, moving the goalposts a little bit. And I don't mind that. I don't know how realistic it is, right? I still think like if you don't get top 4, you get 5th, you narrowly miss out on it. Is it a failure of a season? I don't think so. But again, it's up to the fans to decide. So just curious. All right, man. We got all of our picks there, I think, correct, right? We had 1 draw, 3 Chelsea. We move on to United at Old Trafford hosting Everton. After a game in which we saw the debut of Ruben Amorim. Before we talk about Everton at all, I want to get Max's take. Max, I did go back. I didn't see the game live, but I did go back and watch it. Just try to get a sense of how you guys are going to play. I mean, Arsenal's going to play United in a few weeks. I want to kind of start doing homework, right? How do you feel the game went? Because we did actually see his tactics. He didn't shy away from his style of play. He did play it.
He didn't. I saw the vision. But you don't have the players. We don't have the players.
I'm just flashing back to Ten Hag's vision 2 years ago and how people were saying the same thing in his first game. The vision.
I see the vision of what he wants to do and how he wants to play.
Sure.
And he spoke on all the difficulties that he already sees, and when we scored the goal, I was like, yeah, we're back, because I knew that'll get people going. Like, yeah, United's back. But 2 minutes later, as I'm watching the match, I'm like, we're doing the same shit that we did with Ten Hag. Everyone's sitting back. No one's. We're letting them attack us, and just not. It's just another shit show. So I mean, it's just but I've said this, and I said this before when we first signed him. I said, yes, he looks promising and everything, but we still have the same players, and nothing's going to change until either he magically changes the way our players play or how they act. But we still have the same players, and we're still going to have the same issues. And he literally said, we're going to have the same issues. Like we're going to struggle. Like if we would have made the predictions for the United versus Ipswich game last week, I actually would have been the first time I said that we're not going to win. I don't think we're going to lose, but I genuinely just don't. I could not see us winning. He did not have any time with anyone, only a handful of players. So people were like, why did we start Eriksen? Because Eriksen was present for the training. Like there's just he didn't, like he's not going to start someone that literally got back the day before.
When did Rashford get back? I know he went to New York, right? He went to a Knicks game.
I was mad. I was thinking about going to that Knicks game too. I was like, of course Rashford would be at the fucking Knicks game.
I'm pretty sure he came back on time since he was on and he was not called up for duty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. He
I remember him. I roasted him in our last show when he said top training session on his IG, like he's some bad man.
Yeah, but there was criticism from Gary Neville, right, about him and Casemiro around leaving early or leaving when Amorim coming in.
He just didn't like it. I don't think it was really criticism. Like
it wasn't criticism. He didn't like the fact that the new manager, like you should have stayed in England and just like
just
been
ready
there
for him.
been
Yeah.
ready for him. But it's whatever. It's each their own. But
Yeah.
no, I mean, he generally just did not have any time with anyone. And we also he started Masaru at center back. I mean, we had Johnny Evans, and then we still had Delict. I mean, that's a interesting back three. There's a lot of struggles with Delote. Still some issues with Garnacho. When Ugarte got in, I'm excited for Ugarte. I think he's going to be a good player. Obviously he started off slow. I think that had to do a little bit with Ten Hag not trusting him. But
Sure.
I think there's going to be a lot more trust with Ugarte because there has to be, but a little bit more partnership with between him and Manu. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. I think it's going to take a lot of time. It's not going to be a quick turnover with the squad. So it could be, I don't know, it could be a few weeks, it could be a month. It just really depends on how much you can get out of these players, and these players have
Yeah.
to work, and that's just really what it is. I mean,
I agree.
they're gonna have to work, and if
I
it
will
doesn't work, and I think the best thing is him identifying the problems and saying here's the solution of either they're gonna be gone or they're gonna stay.
Yeah.
No
Fair
more
enough.
of this. No more of this bullshit.
I will say I did hear rumors that we are going to go after Maguire in the window, and I'm sure
Love it.
I'm sure Amorim would love that because it opens up a spot. It might give you a little bit of money,
Yeah.
even though money's not really an issue. But
I don't know how much Maguire goes
I
for,
think
but yeah, I agree with you saying overall.
probably like 15 mil, if I would have to guess. But
He probably goes for 50 mil.
not a bad $65 million.
Oh, imagine
Yeah,
imagine
I
Leicester signed
agree.
for like 10 million or something. Oh,
The reason,
That's-
by the way,
You can keep Johnny Evans though. You can keep that.
the reason I pull up this quote is I think it's look, man, I'm gonna tip my hat a little bit to Ruben Amorim, and the reason I'm doing this is because I feel like Ten Hag never had the fucking sack to do it. Like, I'll be honest, I don't think he ever had the sack to do it. I think Ten Hag was so scared to be seen as like a fraud in the Premier League that he didn't even have the balls to play his own way and just be real with the fan base in terms of the expectation. I think Amorim saying, look, we're going to suffer for a long period. Didn't say how long that was. I think he just understands that with the limitations of this current squad, he's not going to shy away from how he wants to play, but it's going to be a massive adjustment period for this group who's been kind of used to playing their own way across a number of managers over the last half decade plus. And I think, at the end of the day, it may not be sexy. It may take time, but he's willing to suffer for as long as needed. And who it reminds me of, to be honest, because he didn't have a war chest at his disposal either, was Mikel Arteta. Same shit. Dude, he was out there fucking dodging grenades in the trenches in a war zone while everybody's screaming for his head to be chopped off because he wanted to play a certain way while waiting for the dead wood to exit the club because we were dog shit, right? So, like, I think at the end of the day, if United will give him time, I at least respect the fact that he has a system he wants to play and understands what players he needs to play that system efficiently and effectively. So I don't know if it'll happen, right? I don't know if they'll give him time, but it does look somewhat familiar to what Arsenal was trying to do in 2018, 2019 when they moved on from Emery, hired Arteta, and let him suffer for like a 2-year period trying to move players on and get the talent he needed to make his system work. So we'll see what happens, man. But in terms of this game, going back to Everton, and again, right, they drew to Brentford at home, nothing sexy, but maybe this is a game where Sean Dyche gets up for it, right? Like we know he can do, kind of pull off these random one-off upsets against a bigger club in the league. Hoffman, man, are you backing your boy to do it this time?
Not today. I'm backing United. Again, we talked about Leicester getting their manager belts the next week. This is where Amorim gets his. At home, the stadium's gonna be packed. New manager, 3-4-3. I mean, I give Everton no chance, unfortunately. Sorry, my boy Dyche. I gotta stay up though, so it's okay.
Everton did have about 50 minutes with Brentford down 10 men, and they proceeded to do. I mean, they shot a lot, but
they did absolutely nothing.
It was still. They shot the ball a lot. They shot the ball a lot.
They had 27 shots, and 5 of them were on target.
This is okay.
Like,
again, this is the symptom of having Calvert-Lewin and Beto as your fucking strikers. That's all I'm gonna say, bro. Like that's exactly what that world is like. Imagine being an Everton fan right now. Holy shit. There's no way. There's no way.
Bro, did Brentford ever come back?
I don't know, bro.
I
have no idea. I don't know what happened to him.
This man said, "I'm not going to." He said, "I'm not going to United." Fuck this season, then.
We're on permanent vacation. I have no idea what happened to him. I'll be honest, but like, they're still missing other players too. It's not just him.
Beto had 3 shots on the penalty spot, and I think missed the target on all 3.
Yeah, that was Calvert-Lewin last season. Last season, I could not stand watching Dominic Calvert-Lewin play. I couldn't even believe he was a striker in the Premier League. Like it blew my mind with how many shots in and around the 18, inside the 18 that he was getting, sometimes uncontested and still skying it over. Made no sense, but hence why they're 15th place. So we look at this game. I look at it and feel like it could be a trap game for Amorim, but I think he's going to be even more motivated after the opening game not going his way, despite it being away. To come in and have the lads at least prepare to work their asses off against a team like Everton that will try to make this an ugly game, that will be very physical with them, that will do what they always do, shithouse their way to a point or maybe even 3 points. I think Amorim will be aware of that.
Plus, they got a home game in the Europa League against some random team as well. That'll get the wheels going.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, who do you guys play this week in Europe?
I think Bodø Glimt.
Bodø Glimt. Yeah.
The team with the slash in their name.
Yeah.
They're kind of fucking tough.
Are they Norwegian? Where are they from?
I think they're Norwegian.
Yeah. So there's one of those teams, right? So if they're lucky, most seasons they Champions League go out early. Usually the Europa.
They're first.
Back-to-back games midweek and then the weekend.
They're not in great form though.
So hold on. So let me get this. So we think that's going to be a dub, right? For United, should be.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a dub. This is first home game. I know our fans are going to back the hell out of the team and the new manager. Old Trafford's going to be fucking loud as shit.
Back-to-back home games, actually.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I think we'll be able to beat Everton. I think he gets his first full week with majority of the squad. I think Euro might be back for this game. I think.
But he probably won't start either way. Yeah,
he won't start. But he's definitely back. But he'll definitely be back. But I don't know if he'll start. But
are we still cool? Rashford at striker, by the way.
I don't know. He might bench him because he didn't work. Yeah, he scored a goal, nice goal and everything, but he didn't fucking work his ass off in that game. He was walking all over the fucking pitch. Yeah, I don't think that was appreciated. So
he might be the most overrated player of my generation, if I'm being honest.
I love Rashford, but he's fucking lazy as fuck, man. He's lazy as fuck.
Man's on $400K a week and can't even just run for 90 minutes.
Yeah, he's so fucking lazy.
Do the bare minimum.
If you're going to New York and stuff, that's cool. Don't care what you do in your personal life. Again, this has always been my agenda. I don't care what you do in your personal life. I don't care what you do. If you do this and that, you have a mansion, you have an apartment. Turn for 90 minutes for my team. That's all I care about. A lot of people like now for Barcelona hate Dani Alves, for example, for what happened with him, but it doesn't bother me. 90 minutes, you go out there, you perform. That's all I care about. The fact that he does all this stuff, outside the pitch that gets the glamour because he's a nice number 10 English player, and yet again goes on the pitch and he's just a lazy sod. I could not deal with it.
Yeah, I hear that. I actually agree with that statement.
And I'm interested in what's going to happen with Xerxes because I think he likes Xerxes a lot. I think he needs to be coached a lot more. I think he has the right ideas. It's just I think under Ten Hag, Xerxes was definitely fucking confused as fuck of what his role really was. So I think with Amorim there, I think he might change a little bit. We'll see. There's still I know everyone's saying he's a bust and all that shit, but we're still like 2 months in. I mean, we said the same thing about Højlund, and Højlund second half of the season started turning up a bit. So we'll see what happens with Xerxes.
Yeah. And keep in mind, right, Højlund was a whole ass meme before those goals started coming, and I expect the full thing, the full treatment with Xerxes as well. So I don't know, and again, I don't think United are going to just let go of the investment they made into that player immediately. No. They might loan him out, but I don't see them selling him. And it just depends on what he wants to do and who he wants to bring in. So yeah, we'll find out. I'm right there with you though. I think United should win this game. I'd be shocked if they didn't. It wouldn't be I wouldn't ring the alarm bells for Amorim or anything. I think it's just at that point, Amorim, if you guys were to somehow drop points to Everton at home, it would reinforce that this team is still far away from his vision
From
coming to
vision.
life, and that this summer will be very crucial for moving players on and bringing who he wants. So
And people are saying, oh, we should have kept Root, but the reason why we won games on the Root is because Root didn't really change anything. He just allowed them to play more freely. They didn't play as free as they did under Ten Hag, which is why it was pretty much almost the same exact system. It's just they played a little bit more freely. This is a whole new fucking system. Plus, not a lot of players play in a three back system. I can't even. The only person that may possibly have is maybe Bruno with Portugal, but
it wasn't
other
really
than
that much of a 3-back. If you just think about
No,
it,
it
everything just
really
kind of
wasn't.
rotated a bit. I think once he gets
Yeah.
to the natural players in that team, it'll look more so of a 3-back. It'll look more through. But all he really did is just take the 4-2-3-1 that Ten Hag, of course, different system in the approach, but in terms of players and where they're positioned on the pitch, all he did was just take it and rotate it a bit. That's all.
little
yeah,
bit.
but the players that affects the most are the center backs by far.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
just like your positioning, where you stand to cut off lanes before the ball even gets there. Like all of that gets affected by moving
Yeah.
from 4 to 3.
And it affected Bruno a lot too, because the issue during the Ipswich game was that we at some points were literally playing a 5-back with Bruno and Eriksson as literally playing center back because they were playing deep line playmakers, and he literally called out Bruno for fucking always wanting to send out the fucking long balls when that's not what he needs to be doing. So that has to fucking change ASAP. And that's been one of the biggest. And yeah, Bruno is a fucking workhorse, but that's not where he needs to be. So
Yeah, I agree with that. And then Austin, we can get your pick. United, I assume.
Yeah, I'm gonna go United.
right.
They hopefully should figure it out. Everton, I just don't think they're gonna have enough.
Yeah. They really shouldn't. In all honesty, they really shouldn't. Like on even like I've been very critical of United's roster building up to this point. I feel like on paper, a lot of their star players, guys like Garnacho's a perfect example. I think Garnacho's very highly rated, but I've always said I don't think he starts for any team in the Big Six. I really don't. But I think that their players are still a significant level ahead of Everton. And if they were to drop points at all, it would be a huge shock.
There is some times where talent just flat out wins. And
yeah, this should be one of those times where talent just flat out wins. I agree.
Mhm.
So everybody there is on the United train. Let's move to our last game. And dude, because of where these two sides are in form, Liverpool and City, it is probably one of the more juicy matchups. I used to always, even as recently as a few seasons back, say that this match was always so highly touted. It was at one point called the biggest rivalry in the Prem, which I think is fucking laughable. That's
like ever.
Carragher went as far as saying that, but then he got basically bitch slapped by the timeline, saying that you must not remember Arsenal United. But either way, Liverpool City, sure, or even Liverpool United. Like what the fuck?
I think
Anyway.
Arsenal Chelsea
City,
back in
City United in the 2010s.
I would say, yeah, Arsenal, Chelsea, Arsenal United, Liverpool United, all three of those are significantly bigger. But anyway, put recency bias aside, it's always a game as a neutral I looked forward to because of just how insane you expect the game to be. Both teams go into this game usually in great form. Now, I mean, they're in two really weird spots. Liverpool in good form, but I don't feel like they're playing necessarily the best football. And then you have City, who are just in terrible form, aren't playing good football at all by their standards. And I'll be honest, man, I feel like their midfield is absolutely trash right now. Absolutely trash. Like, I feel like if Arsenal had played this version of City when we played them, we'd absolutely smoke their shit. I really believe it.
Shout out to Laporte masterclass in the summer, though. We will never forget.
It's not even just Gundogan though, bro. Yes, dude, that was such a divisive transfer. Like there were.
I don't know why it was so decisive. That's what annoyed me.
Because Barcelona fans have an emotional attachment to how professional he is, what he kind of stands for, right? He's always wanted to play for Barcelona. Like I get it, but
so do I. Where's my contract? Okay,
but the levels that he's dropped off athletically, and then not just him, bro. The fact that Rodri and Kovacic were out. Their midfield is straight trash. I'm sorry. Throwing Rico Lewis in there with Gundogan doesn't work in my opinion. Phil Foden, how are people not dragging this dude?
I thought to mention, I think Phil Foden's had one of the biggest drop-offs I've ever seen.
Because
he's so garbage right now. So fucking
trash, bro. English and
Rashford's different breed.
Bro, but we talk about Rashford, and people talk about Rashford all the time negatively. Why don't they give that same treatment to Phil Foden, bro? Foden has been dog shit. I'm sorry, but Haaland has no help. No help.
I feel like
at all.
Foden. I think the first 2 months of Foden is what really affected him because he had the English long-term break because they got to the final. Didn't really get. I don't think he played. I think he got injured as well in the first trade session. So I don't think he played until like end of September. Then there was like 5 international breaks. I think he's had a rough go. He's been shite 100%. But the comparing him to Rashford, I think is a bit crazy. Rashford's just
That's fair. That's fair. I'm not saying he's as overrated as Rashford. I just think like when you had Player of the Year.
This might be the biggest PFA player of the year drop of I've ever seen.
Bro, I really can't think of another one. And I'm thinking back to like, of course, right? When Cole Palmer against Big Six sides gets dragged. When Saka, bro, even Saka Olympic at the award show is getting dragged. But no, like everything, right? I mean, no player on United can even walk or move or do anything bad without completely getting dragged by the media. But Phil Foden's like fucking untouchable. I just don't get it. Like, I watch this man play. He's a bum. He's a fucking bum. Like, I'm sorry. Don't see it. I don't see what anybody sees in this player. Like to me, he's overhyped as shit. At least right now. Right now, he looks awful. Savinho hasn't looked great either.
He needs KDB and Rodri behind him.
But no player of the year should need players around them, in my opinion.
But I just when you don't have those players miss time, you don't see it.
Even Foden really had KDB last season as well.
Yeah,
he did without KDB last season.
Yeah,
and then it goes to Roger
because he was the star man. Remember, because KDB came back.
He did it with KDB half of the year.
Not half. I would say like 70%. And that's why a lot of people gave him the PFA Player of the Year because he dragged City a lot and pushed him to that title after a certain other team fell off a bit.
Maybe his head. I mean, look, everybody goes through drop offs, right? But like, bro, I remember like, dude, Mo Salah gets dragged, right, for having a one-off season where he didn't pump in like fucking 25 goals.
Mo gets dragged every January, February because every January, February he fucking disappears, whatever his AFCON or whatever it may be. But literally every January, February, this man disappears.
But bro, it's literally the epitome of consistency season over season. 8 straight seasons with double-digit goals. He's already reached 15 GA before anybody else has. The next best player is like at 12 or something. But yet nobody talks about how he's carrying Liverpool on his back. And meanwhile, Foden can't show up to even take a shit properly at the Etihad, much less play football. Like I don't know, bro. It just blows my mind that nobody's willing to be harsh on Foden the way they're harsh on some of these other players around the league. It makes no sense to me. It's the City bias, I guess. Right? Like it's crazy to me, bro. Crazy. But anyway, putting that aside, we go now looking at Liverpool in this game. Mo Salah is legitimately carrying this side. We saw it against Southampton. We saw it against Arsenal. Saw it against multiple other teams in the Champions League as well. The guy's having an insane season. Had a crazy interview. I'll say crazy because of what he said. I think at the end of the day, like he's legitimately doing what his agent is probably doing as well, like being a good salesman, right? It's like I don't know why a deal hasn't gotten done yet.
Apparently, the reason why the deal's not done yet is I heard this from one of my sources that he wants either the same contract or an improvement, whereas Liverpool want to reduce him a bit. He's on 350K a week, and they're like, "Yo, you're pushing on. We'll give you like a good amount of money, maybe like 200, 250." But he's like, "No, I want the same, if not more." And that's why Liverpool have not offered him a contract yet because it's.
But is he not worth that?
I would do a deal where maybe the wages decrease based on maybe performances and stuff like that because I think he is worth it, but. When you're aging, you never know. Some players can keep it going for a little bit longer than others. Some players have an insane drop. But look at Foden. What happens if City, for example, gave Foden a fat contract at the end of last season when he got PFA Player of the Year, and then now look what happened. I'm not saying that it's gonna happen.
Yeah, but it's still a little temporary on that front. I would say the better comparison would be like Lewandowski, right? Like I was a little bit nervous, obviously, bringing him to Barcelona at 34, whatever he was, but he's easily been a fantastic signing. I say a little bit nervous because of his age, right? Just like you said, age makes anybody nervous. It's making probably FSG nervous for Mo Salah.
I think it's different for a striker compared to a winger because winger you rely so heavily on agility and dribbling and speed, where a striker only put the ball in the back of the net when you get your chances. You're pretty Gucci.
I mean, but you can argue, right? You've made the argument against Mo Salah that he's not a tried and true winger, that he's just a very clinical finisher who happens to start on the wing and then move into the middle of the field as the play progresses. I feel like they should treat this the same way as a striker because that's literally what he is for them. He's their best goal scorer.
To be fair, this year he has to play a lot more out wide, but again, he's making a lot of those runs inside. I don't know, man. I think it's a gamble either way. I don't think it's like a Lewandowski where it's like not guaranteed, but like on the more positive side that it will be worth it.
Sure.
But because he's basically asking to get the biggest contract in Premier League history because I think the biggest contract is him with 350, Sanchez with 350, De Bruyne right now at 350. So he's basically asking for the biggest contract.
I just think it's a crazy shout. I don't think it's a crazy shout only because Like, I think he has grounds to ask for that because I literally think he's probably the one player of the three who might be out of contract. Him, Van Dijk, and Trent. I think he's the one irreplaceable one.
Ooh,
I don't know who they go out and get that does what Salah does.
That's a hot take. You know, the fullback market is right shite. You know that, right?
Doesn't matter. I think you put Connor Bradley back there and you get roughly, maybe not the exact same offensive production, but defensively, Van Dijk has enough to cover him. Konate has enough to cover him. Dude,
No, I'm talking more about Trent. I think Trent is.
That's what I'm saying. You put Connor Bradley back there at right back if Trent were to go. I'm not as nervous as like trying to start fucking Harvey Elliott in place of Salah. Dude, ask yourself how many times Liverpool would have dropped points this season had Salah not shown up and saved them.
You can make the same argument for Trent's assists to Salah this season as well because they've also been influential.
True.
I just think that if you look
maybe
at
a little bit of that, but I really believe defenders can be somewhat replaced in a system. I think prolific attackers are very difficult.
If you look at Liverpool's like depth right now, I praise them a lot for their attacking depth, their attacking midfielders, their wingers as well. Jota, Nunez, Cody Gakpo, Luis Diaz. They have options there already to, let's say for example Salah gets injured, they have plenty of plethora of options to not replace him, but substitute him for, a considerable period of time. Whereas Trent goes down, they have, I think, Joe Gomez. And if, for example, Robertson goes down, I think, to be fair, Simicast has done all right for them this season. But
I just think the fullback market, I think it'll be Connor Bradley. I really do. But anyway, go ahead.
I just think the fullback market is atrocious, especially with, my team looking for fullbacks. It's quite dire. So at least with other wingers and forwards, you can kind of risk it for the biscuit, for example, let's just say hypothetically, Yorkers, for example, for 70 million. It's a gamble, but it could happen. Whereas if you gamble that kind of money on a fullback, it doesn't happen. It's serious question mark. So I'm not saying that Salah isn't invaluable, but I just think giving someone like him the biggest contract in Premier League history, especially, if he wins the title, if they win the title, I think his argument would be unreal. Yeah, I think right now from Liverpool's point, I think of course Liverpool want to time down before the season ends, but right now from their standpoint, how it looks, how it could of course end up. They don't want to take that risk, which I think is understandable with the amount of money that we're talking that's on the line.
And I think the bigger question, though, is something that I think the audience will have to answer. So let us know in the comments down below. I think the bigger question to answer is how long does this go on before it becomes a distraction, right?
Oh, I told you what I said in the last show. Wait till the new year hits. This is going to fly.
And again, he can sign a pre-contract in less than 2 months with anybody out there. Literally fucking anybody. So when you think about that and what that could do for a team that has firm control at the top of the Premier League, and we've seen them bottle a lead, right? And as recently as last season, right? You could argue Arne Slot came into arguably the best team in the league. Like frankly, I think Liverpool at one point when they had control of the league were significantly outperforming City and Arsenal up until injuries hit. Right. And then what happened to them was what happened to Arsenal the year before. It was like, the title charge went away and somebody else took it. I think if they were to let Salah walk into January, allow him to negotiate with anybody, you just don't know what could happen. The fallout could be real.
And when I say Arne Slot in every interview, every presser is getting asked about Trent and Van Dijk and Salah, it's just going to get super annoying.
More pressure
more pressure as well.
Yeah.
Especially from the journalists who are, in and around Liverpool, the fans as well. They're going to be, blah, blah, blah.
And they're fucking ruthless too, by the way. They did you just ask Arteta about Saka? Did anybody see that?
No.
They said because of how Saka performed at the weekend, they thought Arteta might be lying or that Saka might be faking an injury, basically. Like they said that he might not have been injured and we just reported it that way. And Arteta replied with, I can show you the MRI scan if you really want to see it. But yeah, like we don't bullshit. English media will tear Liverpool apart if they don't figure this out soon. That's all that I'm saying. And I agree with Hoffman 100%. We need predictions, guys. I know we talked a lot about the downfall of City. We talked a lot about the Salah effect on Liverpool moving forward. But with this game, it's at Anfield. This will be the very, very big test, right? I guess you could say for Liverpool and their title hopes. I'm going to go with the draw because it's just kind of what I'm hoping for to give my Arsenal team a shot at getting back into this mix. I really need a draw here. So, even if City were to win, it's not I think both teams need to drop points here for me. So I'm going to go with the draw.
I have absolutely no idea. This is, I think, the most clueless I've been in a prediction this season because I honestly think that all three results are like a 33% chance. I'm really eyeing the midweek game. Of course, Liverpool, Madrid. That's gonna be big at Anfield.
Yep.
City, do they beat Feyenoord and end their streak midweek? That could also have a big effect as well.
They have to.
I think this. I would say this though. When I was thinking about what my prediction will be, I think this is the perfect game for City to bounce back from. To bounce back on, should I say? Let's say they get the win against Feyenoord. Yeah,
Or
like to get a,
Feyenoord?
no. I think Feyenoord is kind of just to get the W on the record. But this for me is to get like we're back in it. We get some confidence, momentum going because when you beat a team like Liverpool, especially in their current position, that'll get the team right up. Like, imagine like Phil Foden drops a masterclass in this game. Everyone's gonna go ballistic. Like Lazy will be absolutely unreal. I think this is the game over Spurs where you can get a strong like let's just kick on for the rest of this year. We have like 8 games left till Christmas. Let's just crack on, get these dubs, and then focus on January. And then for Liverpool side, you're thinking, okay, you beat City, you're almost double digits in points at the top of the table. Arsenal might flop against West Ham. That's going to be a little bit of a question mark game. They could fly, especially if they batter Real Madrid, which will be a big tough now with Vinicius out and Mbappe in the limelight like he always wants. So if Real Madrid to get the job done over Liverpool, with their heads be down going into City, all big Champions League games. Because remember, Liverpool fans, all they really care about is European nights. It's the only time Anfield actually gets up for games, and that's what they really, really favor. So if you probably ask Liverpool fans, you say to them, "Oh, beat Madrid but draw against City," they'd probably take it. They just love for some weird reason winning group stage games in the Champions League. But
Fair enough.
That's all going through my head. So I got absolutely no idea. Now, of course, the draw is just both the good teams.
So you're going with the draw. You're going with the draw.
No, I didn't say that. I'm just making the point about selecting a draw.
So you like City then?
I don't know.
Bro, give me a prediction, man.
I'm gonna give you a draw here, mainly to the fact that this is another true test for Arne Slot. Like, although City has been out of form, this is still fucking City.
Yeah.
So I can't see City. I can't see trying to drop points against Liverpool at this stage. Where if they do, obviously the season's not over, but now it's
basically wraps.
It's basically.
It's
I don't.
basically
It's
almost over.
yeah. I won't admit that it's over, but it's a huge.
It's looking like
it's
it's a huge gap now. So even though, like I said, Liverpool at some point probably will fall off. Maybe they won't, but because I can't see them continue on this pace for the entire season. Because I'm at that point, they're gonna break every record. But I can see City. I can see City pulling out a draw here. I can see them getting a win against Feyenoord in midweek, and then pulling out a draw against Liverpool, and that will start pushing their way back up to catch up to Liverpool. So.
All right. Well,
is Kovacic back? Because Kovacic is not back.
No, he's out for a month.
They might be fucking talking my man.
I tell you, the midfielder said he's ass right now, bro. It's ass.
Kovacic is kind of like the last leg, and well, I stick with the draw, but that motherfucker.
just because it's City, and like there has to be some pride at some point, but. I'm telling you, bro, that midfield is not inspiring to me at all. Like, I really feel like so many teams could cook that midfield right
now. I don't think he would be back, but Ruben Dias is getting close. So I don't know if he'll be back. Liverpool do play Real Madrid midweek.
Yeah. If they win that game, if they win that game, they beat Madrid, they have even more confidence. Is the City game pretty much wraps like Liverpool?
If they go 2 for 2 this week, I think they're going to win the Prem.
Yeah, it'd be hard to see them not doing it at that point.
I said at the beginning of the year, it's hard to pick against City, but it's like you get to a point where they can't lose again.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, they can't lose again.
You said that shit last week, bro. You said it last week. You said it, and then they got battered at home 4-0.
But then it keeps getting worse. It's like, well, it can't just keep happening.
But it's been going on now for a month.
I feel like, I think Pep has to figure it out he has to really figure it out. Like they need to put John Stones back in the fucking midfield or some shit.
I was just thinking that when you mentioned Ruben Dias, I'm thinking, okay, if Ruben Dias comes back, him and Akanji will be in the middle.
Put John Stones and Gundogan back in the midfield or some dude. He has to figure some shit out. He's the best coach in the fucking world. Like he has to figure this shit out. Like
he really does, bro. I don't know what.
They tried putting Rico Lewis in midfield.
Rico Lewis is. I'm starting to realize Rico Lewis is not. Maybe in the future, but he's not.
He needs to be playing right back over Kyle Walker. We talked about.
Yeah, I think right now his.
on that. Was it the fourth goal? Watching Kyle Walker get beat on that, I'm like,
Well,
dude,
that
the
man
pace
is
merchant.
finished. That man is
Pace
finished.
merchant is finished.
He relies so
Well,
heavily on his pace that
he's a
once he's
pace
gone,
person
he's
with
just
no
ass.
pace right now.
Yeah.
Like
He got burned by, was it Kulusevski? I think it was Kulu.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
but
got
not
burned by
even close.
Adama 2 weeks beforehand as well.
Dude, crazy. That was his best attribute. That shit is fully gone now. So prediction.
I'm gonna go crazy this week. I'm gonna pick City again. I don't know why.
All right, fair enough. He's gonna die on that hill.
I'm either gonna be in last by the end of this, or I'm gonna be in first.
I put my
With
balls on the
me
table last
picking
week.
Leicester and City, but
I put my balls
I
on the
don't
table
know.
last week, so
I
I'm not
just-
gonna do this week. I'm gonna say
And it
Liverpool.
failed you, by the way. You went 1-4. So
I'm gonna keep going.
So
I'm
do you.
gonna keep going until they eventually win.
Hafid.
I'm gonna go Liverpool. I don't think it's gonna be a draw after all this
Okay.
talking and thinking.
Somebody will
And
win this.
I feel like I put my balls on the table last week, so I don't want to back City. So I'll go Liverpool.
Bro, we
I lost
literally
my
like
left-
all went
I
City.
lost my left nut.
Huh?
I lost my left nut because of City. I'm
Yeah,
not
seriously,
losing
I
my
can't
one.
afford to lose the other one.
I need one.
Bro, facts, man. That's literally how it feels.
No,
right
I meant
now.
like with all my predictions. I went with Bournemouth. I went with the Everton. Like my whole
No,
entire
but,
team
but
was
honestly,
I know.
City last week felt like the safe pick against Spurs at
Yeah.
home. I'm like, come on, bro. I know it's Spurs and you guys have a track record, but like, still, like, this is the game where you bounce back, and it was the worst defeat they've had, and I don't know how long. So, yeah, I'm no longer thinking of the safe pick. I'm just gonna go with draw. But look, we got 2 draws: a Liverpool and a City. So
Someone's winning.
somebody's gonna win. Somebody's gonna win.
So
All right, lads. This is a long one, man. We got through it all. It was a great episode. First off, if you haven't done so already, man, do me a favor. Like the video down below. Subscribe to Goals TV. Plenty more Prem content coming. A lot to look out for this week. A lot to keep an eye on. And look, man, like we said before on the show, we just said it. If Liverpool go 2 for 2 this week, I don't know how exciting this show is going to be the rest of the season. We're going to try our best. But it might be reps. It might be reps. We'll find out. But anyway, man, we're going to get out of here from everybody here at Yanks to the Roundtable. My name's Jose. That's Austin. That's Hafid. That's Max. We'll catch you guys next time.